Hello, hello, hello. Hi, TMFA. It's Technique Tuesday. How's everybody doing today? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I hope where you are. It is currently snowing where I am in September. It's great. I'm pretty excited about it. Um, so let's. I kind of just want to dive right into what I want to talk about today. Um, Before I do, though, a quick and a gigantic thank you to the incomparable Pamela Vanderway, who was here on TMFA for me in my slot here on Technique Tuesday last week. I hope you guys got a lot out of listening to Pamela talk. She is one of the best in the business in terms of accent coaching and in terms of career development for actors and linguistics for productions, all of it. So you guys got to hear from literally the person who has invented much of this industry. I'm probably going to have her back every once in a while, and you'll get to ask her some more questions. But definitely, huge thank you to Pamela. Thank you, Pamela. You're one of my favorites. Mwah, love you much, and can't wait for you to come back. And my friends out there on TMFA, when she does come back, I'll let you guys know, and you guys can have an opportunity to pose some questions to her before she even appears. I think you guys would like to do that. What am I going to talk about today? Big topic that has been on my mind as an accent coach for a number of months, to be frank. I have a lot of actors come to me and say, I would like to learn X accent, Z accent, this accent, that accent. Or they come to me and say, I have a project that I'm prepping this for, or a production comes to me and they say, here's a bunch of actors who would like, where we need to have X, Y, and Z accents for this. And without fail, I run into the same specific challenge with every one of the actors that I work with, whether they're a private actor coming to me on their own, ongoing client, or a production with actors coming to me. It's the same exact challenge that I run into with every single one of them, and it's kind of a multifaceted issue, to be honest. And I think it's important for you, the actor, to know that you are probably going to encounter this same challenge. All right, unless you are prepared before you encounter the process, and then you'll have a leg up. So the best way for me to describe what this challenge is probably just to say, in the most meta sense, all right, written language and spoken language are different things altogether. They are different things. And hi Bask. Victory is here watching. Bask, good to see you again. I just love when you show up. You've got great questions. And also, my friends, as you're watching, post some questions. Any questions you have about anything, what I'm talking about, or anything else related to accents, accent acting, preparation, pop it in the comments. I want to be able to help you out today. Written language, spoken language, very, very, very different things. All right. Why is this important that we understand this? The biggest reason that we need to know that written and spoken language are very different is that as accent actors, that's you, all right, you actors, as accent actors, i.e., actors who are looking to work in accents, you have to have a way to look at language in a way that accommodates the really broad fluctuations of pronunciation. All right? For example, I'm going to write down two words. And I'm going to write them in two different colors. And I want you to say these words out loud. Now, these are words in English. All right? But this applies to every language on the face of the planet. Written language, spoken language, different. Here is why this is important. Read these two words. 8 and 8. Interesting. Curiouser and curiouser, said Alice. These two words are pronounced very similarly, if not exactly the same, depending on your accent. And the spelling, however, very, very curious how different the spelling is. What's going on here? So, I'll dive into an explanation of how this happened. Actually, I'm going to talk about why 8 and 8 have such vastly different spellings but the same pronunciation. I'll dive into that exploration here in just a second. But this is important for you, the actor, for the biggest reason that you're going to encounter in your accent learning a desire to look at spelling and want it to correlate to pronunciation. You're going to want to look at a thing and say, now that I have read the letters, they are going to be said thusly. All right? It's a very human thing to do because we are taught to read this way, typically. All right? And I'll talk about how we learn to read and how we learn to speak differently as well. But you're going to encounter this. You're going to look at a script and you're going to think that there's a set of rules that you can apply to the words in that script that will guide you in terms of pronunciation. And sadly, my friends, I'm here to tell you, you cannot do that. You can't actually do that and be guided by any sense of logical progression, by a sense of consistency, or by anything that's going to give you the confidence to know that, yes, I know what my targets are pronunciation-wise because I know about the spelling. You're not going to have that luxury, my friends, especially in English. Now, because you're here on TMFA listening to me speak, I'm going to assume that you know English, you understand English, and that you're interested in working in an English market. However, if that's not the case, just know this. This also applies to every other language on the face of the planet. No matter if that language has a so-called phonetic alphabet, for instance, Cyrillic and Russian, any of those things, any of that at all. All right? You're going to run into this. You will absolutely run into this in every language on the face of the planet. Because spoken language is a different beast from written language. Let's talk about the difference. Let me go into my little history lesson here. Okay, and some other people have said hi. David B. Yanito is there. Aloha, he says. David, aloha. Good to see you here. Linda Copeland is here. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. Everybody else, say hi. Hop on the comments. I want to see your name and a hello next to it, and a question if you have it. All right, so let me dive into my history lesson. This is going to be a little wonky. And by wonky, I mean, when we talk politics, there's policy wonks, like the people who get into the budgets and the hows and whys of how policy is constructed. This is going to be linguistically wonky. All right, so those of you who like to geek out on linguistics, this is it. You guys are going to love this. If you don't like to geek out on linguistics, join us. Join the party. You're going to like it. This is a good piece of information for you, especially if you are an English speaker or learning English. All right, Brendan says hello from Oklahoma. Hi, Brendan. Nice to meet you. Or Brandon. I'm sorry, Brandon. Melissa is here. Says good day. Back at you. Mackenzie Rasmus says, hi, Chris. Good question here. Not speech related, but where did you get those glasses? Well, my stylish frames come straight to you from Warby Parker. Really, I have been so satisfied with Warby Parker frames. I cannot recommend them highly enough. I'm not even getting paid to endorse here, but that's how much I love the Warby Parker frames. I like them quite a lot, and I hope you do too. I hope you're saying, where did you get those in terms of awesome frames, and not like, ugh, where'd you get those frames, brother? Maybe look at some different ones. All right. Janice says hi. Janice Manette, nice to see you as well. Stephanie Geraldo says hi with a nice wave emoji. I love when you guys jump on and say hi, but please do ask questions too. I need your questions because I am here to help you. And when I point at you at the camera here, I want you to think I'm pointing right at you, the actor. Whoever you are watching this, I am here to help you. So what are your questions? I need to know those questions so that I can assist you in your accent journey, leveling up your career, expanding casting opportunities. That is why I'm here. All right. Taylor Gaines Drummond, hi, has a great question. I'll dive into my lesson here in a second, right as soon as I get Taylor's question. She says, how can I not speak with a Southern accent? Great question, Taylor. Let me just say this. All right, first of all, you don't want to get rid of your accent. If your native preferred accent is a Southern accent, keep it. It's a part of you. It's a giant part of your identity. If we try to get rid of your accent, we actually get rid of a part of your identity. And that's not what we want to do. What we want to do instead is teach you how to acquire additional accents. So if you're interested in, for instance, auditioning for roles that don't speak with Southern accents, yeah, let's learn how to actually gain new accent skills and then learn other accents. So Taylor, I'd say this. Best place to start is in my accent skills workshop. You can go to courses.dialectcoachchrislang.com and you can sign up for my beginning accent skills workshop. By the way, everybody, my general American workshop is on pre-sale now. It's probably going to be released by the end of this month, but you can buy it and bundle it with accent skills if you so choose. Otherwise, accent skills workshop, that is where I would start. And then you can work with me privately during that in my office hours as well. Those are weekly check-in sessions. And then once you're done with that, then we can work privately one-on-one to help you gain the skill for an extra accent or 10 or 20 if you want them. So Taylor, I invite you, please do reach out to me, courses.dialectcoachchrislang.com. You can also just go to my website, dialectcoachchrislang.com. And you can talk to my very friendly chatbot, leave all of your information there, and you'll get a link so we can schedule a 20-minute free consult call here on Zoom where we can discuss some of this stuff as well. All right. Talita, hi. Talita, by the way, has taken my accent skills workshop. So just ask her in the comments how much fun she had, and she'll point you in the right direction. Linda Copeland says she's from mid-Illinois, and everyone she speaks to thinks that she's Southern. Is there a way to perfect speech? I love this question. Linda, is there a way to perfect speech? No. What's perfect speech? I don't know. Do you know? What is perfect speech? Anybody? Throw it out there. What is perfect speech? Really what we're looking for, you know, when people notice, and then they're like, hey, you've got an accent thing going on there. It's not that they don't have an accent. It's that they are now noticing the difference between their accent and your accent. And because most of the people share their accent, they don't notice those features a lot. And so they tend to call us out on those things and say, hey, you're different. And that's human to do that. That's part of the reason that accents are such a big part of our identity and social groups and social cues. So I would say the key is to like embrace your idiosyncratic nature as a language speaker, as a person with an accent, because my friends, you have an accent. Every single person on the face of this planet. If you talk with an accent. So we're not unique in having an accent. It's just how we interact with the accent and how we perceive it and notice it. All right. So celebrate your accent, first of all. And then if you want to speak differently as an actor for different roles, come to me. I'm here to help. Go to my website, dialectcoachchrislang.com, leave your info with my very friendly chatbot, and we'll start the process there with a consult call. Or if you'd like to dive right into the skills workshop, that's where I would go to. It's courses.dialectcoachchrislang.com, and my friends, I will put those links in the comments when I'm done with this live. So never fear, it will be there for you. But Linda, that's a great question, to be perfectly frank. Yeah. But there's no such thing as perfect speech. There's only human speech. And as actors, we are in the business of recreating human behavior. Honestly, truthfully, as full of poetry and emotion and messiness as possible. And so that also means that our speech gets to be as messy and imperfect and impermanent and as growing and changing as possible as actors. We just have to tailor it to the character in the story. And that's where the accent stuff comes in. All right. Good questions, y'all. More questions. Keep them coming, but I'm going to dive in on written and spoken language. Why did this happen? 8 and 8. Okay, let's talk English, my friends. Spoken English and written English. But let's broaden it out. Spoken language, written language. All right? Spoken language came first. Spoken language came first. This is how humans got together, started uttering utterances that gradually formed into a cohesive structure with a logical progression that we call language. Written language came after that. Written language was developed as a way to kind of approximate in a visual form that which we were hearing from each other. All right? That which we were hearing from each other. So that process initially, all right, because they happen, imagine spoken language happens, then written language, and then as we go forward in time, all right, that written language probably was a really close approximation of the spoken stuff. So you could look at the writing and say, I know exactly, based on what I saw, how to say the thing that was said again, how to repeat it. Now here's the crux. Language evolves, my friends, constantly evolving. And because it has such an evolving nature to it, it kind of outpaces itself. Spoken language especially. Written language tends to be very codified and solidified and just sticks because it has to be more universal to more purposes. Spoken language evolves way faster. Just think, my friends, of the slang that you use today versus the slang you used 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. When I was a kid, bodacious was a word we used. Tubular, rad. We used all those words. I don't hear them used today. So spoken language really evolves very, very quickly, really quickly. And it involves much faster than written language. And so eventually the spoken language outpaces written language. English in particular, as my native language, I can speak to this. Let's go and let's get in our time machine, our Wayback Machine. All right. Imagine that we are in about the 11th century. All right. And around this time in England, you have a bunch of language influences. Norman French, Saxon German, Scandinavian, Danish, Celtic languages, Welsh, all the native stuff, Latin from the Romans who were there before. You have all these languages filtering around, plus what we would recognize as Old English. Think Chaucer, that kind of Old English. Now, the court language at this time was French, that Norman French. So all the nobility was speaking this, but everybody else was speaking a melange, a buffet, a language buffet of everything else. Now, around the 11th century, we get a new king and queen in England who say, hey, I would love the court language to be English. So they switch things up, and now the nobility is speaking English. And this form of English, which is usually referred to as Middle English now, Middle English gets now influenced by the Saxon German, the Norman French, the Celtic, the Roman, Latin, like all of this stuff starts to filter in, and this language begins to grow and change over the next, say, 500 years. About the time of Shakespeare is when we start to realize what we refer to now as modern English. And over that time, all of those other language influences, all right, into English, and English now becoming more predominant, means that English is now more in charge of pronunciation rules. So all of these other loan words from French and German and Celtic words, etc., start to become anglicized, which is why we get this, a French word and a German word, right? Kind of now pronounced the same way. So ultimately what this leads us to know is that the spelling has been so outpaced by the way we actually use the language that we can't trust the spelling anymore outside of our ability to just know that they're pronounced usually the same way, depending on what accent you speak in. This process, by the way, has a cool name. It's called the Great Vowel Shift. You can look this up on Wikipedia. There's a great video or two on YouTube about this, but the Great Vowel Shift in English. This is what happened. And every language has gone through a similar process. Some languages are more codified and held on. French, for instance, has an academy devoted to the preservation of French language. Not every language has that, though. And some languages are newer than others. Some languages are way old and have evolved through 5 or 6, 12 different versions of themselves. So we can't rely on alphabets because they actually don't tell us what we're dealing with. All right. Jack and Brandon both have a couple questions, and I'll get to those in a second. But I want to take you guys through a quick exercise just to prove my point here about spelling. And I'm writing a couple words down. The anticipation, I'm sure, is killing you. All right? All right. The great letter O in English. How do you pronounce an O? Just the letter O. Is it oo as in two? Is it O as in go? Is it aw as in for? The letter O. Right? Now you may hear people say, well, that's the, this is the long O, or that's the long O versus the short O. I don't know what that is. Nobody knows what that is really, my friends. Any acting teacher or casting director or even the speech teacher who says, oh, that's the long O or the short O, or this one's always long or this one's always short in English, they are feeding you a stack of malarkey pancakes. I can't believe I said that. Stack of malarkey pancakes. That's what they're feeding you. All right? They absolutely are. There are no rules governing actual length of vowels, pronunciation based on any of the spelling. Nothing. It doesn't exist. All right? We do have an alphabet that we can use, however, that will govern actual sound to symbol connection. This will be the International Phonetic Alphabet, my friends. I'll talk about that in a second as well. But I want to get to these questions that we have in the comments. All right. So Jack Power says, might have already been asked, but what are your most requested accents at the moment? Good question. Yeah, we need to be tuned into this, my friends, actors, because we want to know what is the industry asking for, what kinds of stories are being told, what kinds of characters are being asked for, and what accents are they usually using. Also, look at the news. Anything that's in the news, big event, know that when that happens in the news, it's going to be on TV and in movies eventually. So you want to know where those stories are from and make sure those accents are there. So right now, there's a ton of stuff being asked for in terms of, I'll say the most asked for accent that I coach right now is General American. All right, there's a huge demand for awesome actors who are not American to be able to be and sound American. So that's number one, I would say. Outside of that, I'm getting a lot of call for some regional British accents. That's a fun one for me. Asian accents, Southeast Asian accents, and some Chinese accents as well. Those are being asked for quite a lot. Middle Eastern accents are being asked for. And I would say Spanish language accents. So from Mexico, Cuba, Puerto Rico, even South American Spanish, and then Portuguese as well. Those are all being asked for. The biggest thing, though, is know this. The accents you want to have in your back pocket are based on your branding, your type. What are you most likely to be cast using? So I want you to think about that process the same way you would think about, what do my headshots all say about my branding? All right, and if you don't know how to do that, go take Wendy's class. Stop everything, go take that class, and then come back and talk to me. All right? You've got to get your branding and your typing down so that you can also use the accents to fit into that process. Good question, Jack. Thank you for that. Brandon Blake says, do you have any recommendations on how to pick up a new accent without going too far? For instance, over-enunciating a Russian dialect. Absolutely, I do. The biggest thing we want to focus on in accent training when you're learning a new accent is authenticity. When you come to work with me, we will learn how to mold your vocal instrument into something new and how to model this vocal instrument off of a real live human being who speaks in the target accent that we are after. And in doing that and learning how to model ourselves off of an actual human being who speaks our target accent, we are assured of authenticity. We're not doing sort of a generalized theatrical, cartoony caricature of an accent. We never want to do that. For two reasons. First of all, it gets in your way as an actor. You can't be as truthful as a human being if you're being a caricature. All right? So that's a big thing. Number two, the actual people in the real world who speak with these accents will see the project that you're in. And you do not want to be skewered on Twitter for the rest of your life because you did a stereotypical hackneyed accent. That wasn't authentic, and it wasn't respectful, frankly, of the people who speak like this in the real world. Our job as artists is to honor their stories. When we get to tell their stories, our job is to honor them and serve them in a way. So it's really important that we go as authentic and detailed as possible in our pursuit of that. Cracking open the nut of character and motivation and understanding and culture and people and place that belongs in an accent, that identity, so that we can fully honor their story when they watch the film or the TV show. That's the biggest thing. And Brendan, that's a really fantastic question. I'm really glad you asked that. All right, my friends, keep the questions coming. So just to reiterate, spoken language, written language, remember, not the same thing at all. If you want an alphabet that you can use, if you want an alphabet you can use for pronunciation, we have the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA. Lots of people have talked about this throughout the years. The IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet. The IPA is created by, way back when, 1886 or something like that, by the International Phonetics Association, also the IPA, as a way to help them teach pronunciation and language teaching. And we have adopted this as accent coaches and trainers to be as accurate as possible in how we teach pronunciation for accents. It's a very efficient way to do this process, and it's much, much more accurate than, any of this stuff. Much more accurate. And so we love to use it. If you want to learn that, I can teach you to learn that. I can totally teach you the IPA. In fact, not to tease too soon, but there will soon be a workshop where you can learn the International Phonetic Alphabet as a tool to help you level up as an accent actor. That's definitely coming in the future. Keep an ear and an eye out for that. We're creating it right now. A bunch of us accent coaches have gotten together and we're making this thing happen for you guys. So this is going to be a great tool for you. I just want to tease that. I can't give you a date on when it's going to be released because it's still in production. So we'll let you know when that gets released. But the International Phonetic Alphabet is a wonderful tool for this, for accent learning. It's quick, it's efficient, it's good for you on set, it's good for you on short notice with those last-minute accent auditions. Now, here's the other thing. You may be saying to yourself, ooh, do I need to learn the IPA? I saw it in college or I saw it somewhere and it just intimidated me. I didn't like it all that much. Do I actually need to know this? Here's the thing. No, you don't need the IPA to learn accents. If you come to me, there's lots of different ways in that we can learn accents without the IPA. I will use it as a teaching tool occasionally, and I will use it for my work. And I will encourage you to learn it because eventually, as you level up as an accent actor, we want you to be able to have that. All right. Let's see. Any other questions so far? Questions, accent stuff. Nope. No new questions. Great. So let me talk a little bit about this. I in the title of this session, this video, why you can't just read the words off the page and speak them. All right. The first reason, this. The spelling actually doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do. All right. It doesn't give you a hint towards pronunciation, accent-wise, flow-wise, none of that. Some good writers will often do this for you, but it's not always the case, so you can't expect it. The other reason is this, my friends. We learn how to speak way before we learn how to read. And the brain process that we use to learn how to speak and how to read is actually very different. Let me describe this to you. When you're learning how to speak, anybody have a guess what the first word that you usually are encouraged to say is? Anybody? Pop it in the comments. Any ideas? What's that first word that you're usually encouraged to say? Typically something like this. Mama. Right? Now, there's a good reason for this. Usually, mama is there going, say mama, say mama. Or dad's there going, say dada, say dada. All of these things are happening. Now, we learn to speak from these people, from our parents. These are the people who give us our very first accent. In fact, they give us this accent. And so we learn two ways from them. Way number one. In our brains, we have what are called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons have a sole purpose. That purpose is to see, hear, and experience things and then copy those things. It's like when you're watching sports, is for me, I'm sitting there in my chair and I'm just like, always moving around. Not because I necessarily just want to be out on the field with the players, that would be fun, but also because my body, my brain sees that and goes, let's do that. My brain wants to copy those things. So mirror neurons, this is also what allows us to shift and take on other people's accents that we're around. These mirror neurons. They want us to blend in to the crowd that we're around. So mirror neurons, we see mama and dad doing mama, dada, and we start going, we start moving our bodies like we see them doing. Now, eventually, you say mama, and everyone loses their shit. They go, I said mama, oh, first word, hooray! Everyone goes crazy, right? Because you finally copied the thing. Now you, my friend, have just gotten awesome feedback. And so you're like, great, awesome feedback. I need to do more of this. All right? Instinctively, you just go in that direction. So you go more and more and more, and you gradually build up more copying that gets you more feedback, etc. Now, later on, a little bit older, you have copied enough and you have developed this connection between what you have copied and what that thing means. Right? So when you say mama, now do this exercise with me here. All right? Go ahead and say mom. 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 Okay. What popped into your head when you said mom a bunch of times? I'm willing to bet some pictures in your head of mom. Maybe some memories. Maybe some feelings and emotions. Things like that. Certainly what didn't pop up in your head was a dictionary definition, the maternal figure in the family who da-da-da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da-da. No. That doesn't happen. There's a lot of emotional and psychological attachment to this idea of mom, but it's a picture up here. It's an image in your head, isn't it? Because it's an image, it's got a lot more depth of meaning than simple MOM, mom, right? Much more depth of meaning than that. So when you're a little kid, right, let's say you're little Johnny, and Johnny goes up to his mom and goes, Mama, Johnny, potty. What does Johnny need? Well, likely Johnny needs to use the restroom or has already used the restroom, but something has happened there. All right, there's an urgent and pressing need that Johnny has to attend to. All right, and so he has this mama idea, right? And he goes, Johnny, so he knows Johnny. He knows what that means, and then he knows potty. He knows everything that has to do with the word potty and the image and the place and what you do there and all of that. So he has a series of images that he's strung together. Mama, Johnny, potty. Right? Now, later on, Johnny learns some more sophisticated ways to connect these images. And we get Mama, Johnny has to go to the potty. Or I have to go to the potty. Stop talking about yourself in the third person, for instance. Though some people still do that. It's fun sometimes to say, Chris is teaching a Facebook Live right now. So that more sophisticated has to go to the stuff. All right? That's what we would describe as rhetoric, if you ever heard anyone talk about rhetoric. Essentially, think of rhetoric as the logic that links together all the images, the Mama Johnny Potty stuff. All right? That's what links all that together. And we learn to talk this way because we learn to think in images and we connect those images to physical actions that we recognize as spoken words. And we eventually connect those together very, very well. We get good at it. We get so good at it, we can often speak extemporaneously, improvisationally, off the top of our head, just generating image to image to image to image to image to image. All right? We get really good at it. All right? That's why improv actors are sometimes so impressive, because they're very good at it. Now, when we go to school, and little Johnny gets a little bit older, we take him off to school, and he's sitting there in kindergarten, first grade, wherever it is, and they put a book in front of him, and they say, these black squiggles on this white page, these are words. They don't tell him images. These are words that describe images. All right? And so he starts reading these little black squiggles off the page, and we get something like to, the, he, she, I, you. All the short ones, right? Tiny little words. Because they're easy to recognize and remember. Right? And at that point, we're learning how the hell to deal with this crap. The fact that spelling doesn't tell us how it's supposed to be pronounced, and we have to recognize all of this stuff. Yeah. Right? So we're reading these black squiggles and we're getting the tiniest words. So really what we have done for Johnny as he learns to read is he has learned to read has to go to the before he ever learns to read Mama Johnny Potty. And so therefore you, my friends, sadly, have likely been the victim of this in your own schooling. So that when somebody gives you a script, your brain reacts to that script, fixating on the has to go to the stuff, as opposed to fixating on the Mama Johnny Potty, the images. This is also why you can't just pick up a script and read it. You have to get good at figuring out how these black squiggles on a page translate into the images that your brain would create if what was on that page was being born in the moment from your creativity. Got to be able to learn how to do that. And do it in an accent. This is a fun experience. All right, it's a great challenge for an actor. It's a worthy challenge. You should want to do it. You should want to, yeah, I could do that. I'm going to learn how to do that. All right, but you cannot take even the littlest part of your acting journey and that process for granted. If you just think, yeah, I can read these lines off the page, maybe to some extent, yes. But if you take it too much for granted, you're setting yourself up for unsuccess. I don't want to say failure, but you're setting yourself up not to have success like you want it. All right? Just plant the seed in your mind right now for what this might look like. This is going to be an open-ended kind of conversation here. I don't really have a button to put on this except to say this is a thing you have to learn. You can learn it from me or you can learn it from another acting teacher, but it is a thing you have to learn because we're dealing with words, written language that have not caught up to the spoken language part of it. And then when you were taught how to do this stuff, you were taught the spoken language part first, and then you had to adapt that to the written language part. It's very difficult for our brains to have to navigate that and then break out of it into a new way of thinking, which is what you have to do as an actor. And I am here to help. All right, I am here to help. Reach out to me. I invite you. Come to my website, dialectcoachchrislang.com. Take my accent skills workshop, courses.dialectcoachchrislang.com. I am here to help. All right, I want you to have these skills. This is the difference between you being a pretty good actor and you being an exceptional actor. Hear me? This is the thing that helps make that difference. Being pretty good and being, oh my God, so good. That's what we want for you. All right? But you have to get trained. You have to know how to do this. All right, let's check in with some questions here. All right, so Jaron Soto says, hi, Chris, how are you? I'm great. Happy to be back here on TMFA with you. What are the bigger differences between a British and, quote, mid-Atlantic accent? I feel like if I ever try to do it, I move into Australian territory. Jaron, welcome to the club on that one. A lot of actors encounter this. So, mid-Atlantic accent is an invented accent created in the early part of the last century, largely by a woman named Edith Skinner, who was the voice and speech guru in America at that time and for a long time. And her disciples have, sort of grown and taken over that mantle over the last 50 years or so. But Mid-Atlantic was created as a prestige accent for actors in America, in the same way that RP, received pronunciation, was a prestige accent for British actors in England. And American training programs wanted their actors to have the same kind of distinction as we would see in England. And so this accent, it's called Mid-Atlantic because it's right plop in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, halfway between England and halfway between America. So it's got some American features, for instance, some of the sounds, but it's got some British features, for instance, the trap bath split happens. So they say ask instead of ask. Right? So I would say that nobody speaks the mid-Atlantic accent anymore unless you're playing Cary Grant or Katharine Hepburn in a movie. We're not going to see that much. In fact, almost never. The general American, we definitely will. All right, that's different than Mid-Atlantic, and it's not standard American. No such thing as standard American. There's no standard speech in America. There's just actual accents. So general American exists. That's an American accent that's largely devoid of regional and demographic markers. So it can tell you're from America, just not exactly where or what people group you might belong to there. All right. Then the British accent would be very distinctive from that general American accent. And that's probably why you're getting sucked into Australia land, because you're using some of the features of one in the other. And they're not distinct enough for you yet to be able to, deal with that. It's also likely you're listening to yourself. You're trying to remember what the sounds were. And that is death in accents. Try to remember this stuff. You can't remember what it sounded like because your brain can't remember that. What you can do is remember what all of this felt like in your mouth. That you can remember because it's distinct, it's knowable, it's recreatable, and it is therefore very reliable. All right? Kinesthetic awareness of vocal anatomy, which is what you will learn in my accent skills workshop, is crucial to your success as an accent actor. It allows you to be able to distinguish physically between sound creation, formants, vowels, consonants in here, all right, that your ears perceive as the same thing. Your ears and your brain may not be able to delineate between two sounds they hear, but the creation of them physically, very different. And it's not that you hear them the same because they are the same. You hear them the same because your brain speaks your language and your accent. And it doesn't have the experience of being able to split those things apart. So, Jaron, come to my website. Schedule a consult call. Let's chat. I invite you, please, come to my website, leave your info with my chat bot, schedule a free consult call on Zoom, and we'll chat through all of this. Next question. Janice Minette says, would you adjust accent doing period pieces, i.e. British in the 40s? Yeah, absolutely. Because accents have changed so much over time, we have to adjust them. So when we're talking about British, let's say RP, received pronunciation. We have modern RP, we have sort of older RP, we have antique RP. So we have lots of different ways, and again, we would strive to find an actual human being to model ourselves off of for this. So certainly, yeah, we want to make sure that we look at time, place, gender, orientation, every aspect of identity possible that we could discover, and choose the right accent to tell that story within the story, within the film. Accent is a layer of storytelling. Pamela Vanderway, who was on last week, that's her mantra. All right, she has been preaching that over this industry for years. Accent is a layer of storytelling. Thank you, Pamela, for that. And so true. All right, Brandon says, or asked, when do you claim an accent in the special skills of your resume? When you have mastered that accent. For instance, when a casting director says, hey, I see you have Swedish on here. Can I hear that accent? And it's got to be perfect. That's when it can go on your resume. Can't put it on there if you can't do it. You do not want to get caught flat-footed looking like a jerk because you put an accent on there you really didn't know how to do. So it's important you have that accent mastered. Or at least mastered enough to have a monologue in your back pocket for that accent. That's awesome. All right? Talk to your accent coach about that. Please, Brandon, reach out to me. I want to help you with this. So reach out, go to my website, leave your info, let's talk. Jennifer Sampson Potter, as a speech language pathologist, I'm loving this discussion. Jennifer, hug. Thank you for being here. My SLP friends, you guys are awesome. I wish I could do what you guys do. I don't have that particular in that you have, but I love all the cross-pollination. Some of my best accent coach friends are also SLPs, so I love this cross-pollination. This is good stuff. All right, Brandon has another question. Brandon, I love it. You're just batting 1,000 here. The mouthfeel versus sound says was a revelation he had recently. Great to hear you say it out loud. I'm so happy about that. When you realize you cannot hear what your voice actually sounds like, and not only that, not only do you not know what it sounds like outside of your body, because the sounds you hear are inside your head, and they're always changing, but you don't actually have the ability to listen to yourself do the accent and act in the accent at the same time, no more than you have the ability to watch your performance on the monitor and act at the same time. You don't have that ability. So it's a huge, huge revelation that if you can rely on the physical underpinning, the foundation of accent and how speech is actually created here, physically, I'm just gesturing at you with my face right now. And there's meaning attached to it, but it's all physical. I'm not translating thoughts out of my brain telepathically. This is all a physical thing. Even the sound waves are traveling through time and space, entering my microphone here, traveling through the internet, out your speakers, and hitting your body. Physically, I am touching you with my voice right now. Crazy. This is very important for us. I love it. All right, Janice says, do you help with changing tonal quality of voice? Advice, absolutely. In terms of changing tonal quality of voice, I want to be very clear about what we're talking about. What are we changing? What are we looking to alter and why? Are we looking to be more expansive, more compressed, up, down? If so, why and why not? Because your vocal instrument is built as it is built. And our goal primarily should be to take advantage of that instrument, that specific instrument. Right here. And how can we set that free so it's the most responsive possible, instinctual instrument possible to your acting impulses? That's our biggest goal. So yeah, we can change stuff, but I think our biggest goal should be to set it free, and then we have the ability to choose how we would like to use our voice. That's what I would direct you in. But great question, Janice. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? No, I'm not seeing any other questions. And my God, it's almost been 50 minutes. Guys, I have talked too long. It's happened. It's happened again. But I love it. I love being here with you. I really do. All right, let me wrap this up. So a couple things that I just want to tease here. All right. You've heard me talk about accent skills workshops and private sessions and things like that. Please come to my website, leave your info with my chat bot. We'll schedule a consult. We'll just quick 20-minute Zoom call. We can talk about stuff and come up with a plan for you that's useful. I can answer all your questions. So please do that. I invite you. You're not ever bothering me by reaching out with questions. Please, I'm here to help, my friends. I'm here to help. So do that. Thing number 2. 2 weeks ago, if you all recall, I was here with Dan Clifton from Union Management in London. And we teased the idea of the online actors retreat. Well, my friends, I'm happy to announce the website is up. You can register. Let me just open it and make sure I can tell you. All right. Tell you what's going on there with a sense of authority, because I'm reading it off the page now. All right. October 14 through 18. All right, all times will be in British time, so adjust accordingly. But they're in the afternoon and evening in England, so we can in the States have access to them as well. Who is going to be there? All right, we're going to have Kate Geller, casting director from New York. We're going to have Lisa London, also casting director from London. You're going to have me. I shall be there, my friends. I will be on doing a 1 hour sort of session on some accent related stuff on the 15th of October at, I think, about 10 in the morning Pacific, or 10:30, I think, Pacific in the morning. And then let's see, we're going to have Judy Bully is going to be there. Terry Berlin casting is going to be there. RPM Talent Agency will be there. Wendy Braun is going to be there doing self-tape success stuff. And Wendy Allen Wright. Wendy will be there. If you want direct access to hear Wendy say awesome stuff and to help you level up significantly, come to the Online Actors Retreat. The website is onlineactorsretreat.co.uk. onlineactorsretreat.co.uk. Again, I will put it into the comments as well, so you have that. You can sign up for all the sessions, individual sessions. There will be, on the last day, a panel discussion with myself and Wendy, and let's see, who else is going to be there? So Wendy, myself, RPM Agency, and Ashley Ingram, casting director. So we're going to be doing a panel discussion about some stuff that Sunday as well. It's online, it's affordable. Sign up right now. I'm going to put the link into the comments just now. Just popped it in there, so you'll be able to find it. onlineactorsretreat.co.uk. That's the first thing I want to tease. Show up, you guys. It's super affordable during COVID right now. Lots of great industry stuff. If you are from outside of the U.S. market, this is for you in particular. The goal of this retreat is like, how do folks from outside the U.S. market gain entrance to the U.S. market? So there's going to be an immigration lawyer and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, how do I get in? Right? It's one of the reasons I'm there, because part of working in the American market is you learn how to sound American with accents. Things of that nature. So please do check it out. You will thank yourself for having done it. If you sign up before the end of September, you'll get a discount. If you sign up after the end of September, prices will go up a little bit, so sign up ASAP for that. Secondly, there is going to be an online film reading that is a fundraiser for the Actors Fund and the Will Rogers Foundation. All right, it's called Invisible. It's a new kind of virtual table read written by Laura Carson and Krista Gano. Starring Edie Patterson, Will Forte, Jim Rash, and Tony Cavallero. I had the privilege of coaching the accents on this film reading as well. I'm going to post the link to the Eventbrite in the comments as well. But you guys are going to love this. It's a hilarious script. If you want to see some awesome actors doing some awesome stuff in a film reading in a way that has never been done before that I've seen, they've had it edited on Zoom, the whole thing. It's really, really cool. I think you guys are going to like it. I will put that in there as well. So, Online Actors Retreat, the film reading of Invisible, that's going to be Thursday the 10th in 2 days. All right, so I'll pop that in there. And last but not least, any questions that you guys have as you're watching this not live, pop it in the comments. I'll circle back for sure after this, and I'll answer them. Or reach out to me. Go to my website, dialectcoachchrislang.com. Talk to my chat bot. Schedule a time for us to have a friendly Zoom consult call, and we'll get you squared away with stuff. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming again to my Facebook Live on TMFA. I cannot tell you how much I love you guys as actors. TMFA actors and Winners Inner Circle actors, you guys are my favorite actors because you're hungry. You're hungry and you desperately want training. I love it. You got to be hungry. You got to be self-motivated. This business will never give you anything. You got to go get it. So today is the day. Do not look back 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now and say, why didn't I start training before this? Why did I wait till now to get my accent stuff together? I should have done that 5 months ago. Don't wait, guys. Take advantage of the opportunity. Strike while the iron is hot, and you will thank yourself in the long run. Success breeds success. So breed your own success, my friends. Lots of love. All right. Thanks again to Pamela Vanderway for last week. Love you, Pamela. Thanks again to Wendy for this whole forum. Wendy, you're a gem. Love being on TMFA for your actors. Everybody else, like I said, any questions, please do reach out. I'm here to help. Hope you have a great week. Get outside, see some sun. I'm looking out my window right now. It is snowing, which I'm excited about because that means I get to ski soon. Right? But go outside and feel the sunshine, fresh air on your face. If you're around any of the fires, please do stay safe. Get away from the smoke if you can. But definitely many prayers for you guys as well. Have a great week, everybody. I will see you next Tuesday. Ciao, my friends. Bye.